this one's going to be fun. We're going to deal with some equations that involve absolute values in them. So absolute values are interesting because the answer or the input to an absolute value could be either positive or negative and yield a positive number. Effectively, absolute value can be thought of as distance, and so distance as a physical concept represents some kind of positive number, right? You're 2 units away whether you're on the left or the right of an object. So the fact that we're going to use is that if x, absolute value of x, is equal to a, and this is with a being a positive number, then x will be equal to plus or minus a. It can be either equal to positive a or negative a. And I'll keep this floating around in the background. Later on when we deal with radicals, you'll see something similar to this that we'll use in that context. So, first equation is 3 times the absolute value of x equals 12. So, just like normal, if we wanted to try to isolate the variable here, first step would be to divide by 3. And after doing so, this would yield, well, 3 and 3 reduce, so we're left with absolute value of x equals 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So we have absolute value of x equals 4. So, therefore, because of the bubbled rule, with a being bigger than 0, 4 is certainly bigger than 0, we get that x is equal to either positive 4 or negative 4. So we'll either usually write plus or minus 4, or you could write 4 or negative 4. And that's the solutions to the first equation. Second equation here, absolute value of x plus 7 equals 10. Pause for a second and see if you can figure this out on your own. Again, try to isolate the variable. Find your present, unwrap your present. So assuming you paused for a second, tried that out on your own, of course here we would have to undo the adding of 7, which with its inverse operation would be subtraction by 7, yielding absolute value of x equals 10 minus 7, which is 3, and then, according to our bubbled rule up above, we have absolute value of x equals 3. 3 is a positive number, so x equals plus or minus 3, or sometimes we'll say 3 or negative 3 if we wish to write them out separately. Okay, now before you leave, I have a special challenge problem here. Try this third problem. 2 times the absolute value of x plus 5 equals 3. And again, pause the video, try it on your own. But assuming you gave it the good old college try here, of course, to isolate the variable here, we would subtract 5 to give us 2 times absolute value of x equals 3 minus 5, which is negative 2. Then we have a second step to the equation, which would be dividing by 2 on both sides. Cancellation. Absolute value of x equals negative 1. But now, remember the rule said that we had to have a being bigger than 0. A had to be a positive number. So here, since we're saying absolute value of x equals a negative number, here we would say that there is no solution. No solution. So in other words, you cannot find a number that you can stick into absolute value that will yield a negative answer, such as negative 1.